but I will tell you, when I first started, I remember my very first speaking gig. I went in, I was the only person that wasn't verified. I was speaking on stage with, it was Mel Robbins, Jay Shetty, Brendan Burchard, Lewis House, Ed Milet.
You felt comfortable, right? You felt like you fit right
Oh,
in. It's
yeah,
just
I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm here." Well, actually, I remember sitting in the green room and just being like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm here." 'Cause I that was when verified was like a thing,
yeah,
like it's you can pay to be verified now, but,
yeah,
um and I remember sitting there and I was just like, "I'm just gonna soak in everything that they're saying. I'm here to learn." And I was so nervous to speak, but I was there to serve. And this guy was sitting next to me, and I'm sorry, I'll stop talking right after this. I just
no,
have to tell you this story. There was this guy sitting next to me, and he had a Texas accent. So I thought, me being from Texas, I thought, well, maybe he's going to be nice. And he looks over at me and he goes, "Well, who are you here with?" And I was like, "Just me. It's just me." Because see, everybody else was there. They had their team of their assistant, their media people, like a team around them. And it was just me. But now,
yeah,
going back, I really wish I would have said, "Oh, hey, I'm Amberly Lago. I'm the author," but I was
yeah.
so intimidated by the whole thing. And after he goes, "Oh," and he kinda turned his shoulder, and I was like, "Well, who are you here with?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm here with Lewis Howes, Jay Shetty, and Mel Robbins," and that's all he said, and I was like, "Well, what what do you do? Like, what do you do?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm an agent." And I said, "Oh, I need an agent." He goes, "No, I'm a boutique agent." And he, like,
Oh
turned
my
his
gosh.
shoulder. I felt like I had been kicked in the gut the way that he
Yeah.
treated me, and I was about to go on stage and speak in front of, like, 4,000 people. I had to go outside and, like, pull my bootstraps up and give myself a little talk, and, I remember sitting in the green room, and I'd taken my boots off, and I was praying, and I get a call, and I look, and it's a Salt Lake City area code, and I thought, I better answer this because I was in Salt Lake City. I answered it, and they said, "Amberly, our next speaker isn't here. Can you get down here?" I said, "I'm your girl. I'll be right there."
Wow.
Because I was ready to go, I got to be on stage when they were expecting some other huge speaker instead of being the speaker that was like right before the lunch break. It was incredible. Like, I had a whole audience, and then I had a line of people waiting to get their book signed, and it was like that was the very beginning of my speaking career, was that.
Wow. No, that's great, and thanks for sharing that, that's you talked about opportunity, like, I've had my podcast for 8 plus years. I don't know if you recall, I just retired from the military, back in November after 23 years, but there's just been, and I was an intelligence analyst for the Air Force, like, that was my job for 23 years, so all the three-letter agencies that you can think of, that's who I, did work for, right? I'm not out in the field, I'm just doing research, but, behind a desk, essentially, but um, but because of those I've skills, I've learned how to master the art of researching. I felt like, and I've parlayed that into podcasting, and d- uh, I've had a pretty good. I don't say Rolodex anymore because someone told me that shows my. I know you look very young, but I know how old you are, right? So so we say Rolodex, but now we say our
And now
contacts list.
people be like, "Rolodex, what is
Yes, I
that?"
say my contacts list, but people ask, "Well, how'd you get this person? How'd you get that person?" Like I've had, I mean, there's a lot of people that like Ken Coleman was just on my podcast a few months ago.
That's
Or
amazing. Also, I've said "little black book," and people are like, "What's that?" Because nobody writes in a calendar, but everything's done digitally.
it's not, it's faded. I've had this for a while. This is actually my dream guest list. I have dream like guest lists. I wrote down 150. Your name's been in here for about 6 years. Since
No.
I promise you. Yep, I promise you. Like, yeah, your name's been in here for
Are you
like Rob was like, I
serious?
swear. I remember first. I don't even remember how I learned about you. Just somehow, like, people just kind of pop up on the algorithm on social media, and
Oh.
and it was just like, man, who is, you just kind of, and then you just kind of like you keep popping up. But yeah, your name has been in that list for, and I write in pencil. It's just a process that I have. And whenever I have someone who I'm not anywhere near getting through this list, right? But I even though I've had 140 plus episodes now, not everyone who's been on my show's been on this list, but anyway, I for the people who are on the list, when I have them on my show, I put a check mark after, and it's such a great feeling. And I've had people ask me, "How did you get this person? How did you get that person?" Well, I did the hard work before I met the opportunity. So when the opportunity, like, so when I got a phone call from Salt Lake City, it's just like, I'm your girl, I'm your guy, I can do this. Like, you know, I
Yeah,
prep for
I
people.
love that. I
Hmm.
swear, I feel like we are so much alike because when I started my podcast, I did the same thing. And
Yeah,
just yesterday, I do I coach a group of women, and on our group coaching call, I said, your homework is this. I want you to write 50 names. If you don't already have your podcast, then 50 podcasts that you want to guest on. And if you do have your podcast, I want you to write 50 names of people that you want to be a guest on your show.
absolutely.
I did the same thing. And I think I had everyone on the list except for Oprah. Haven't had her yet.
Good luck. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is just page 2 pages. It's really like 5 pages within this book.
Wow.
And it's a lot of name. I mean, um your name's been on the list, but like Jesse Itzler, I mean, no particular order, but like John Gordon, like people like these icon, like people that just know how to, like Scott was on, like, Scott was on my podcast back and I had just met Scott, back in September. And, I don't know if you know who Michelle Mace Curran is. She was a
I
fighter pilot in the Air
don't.
Force. She's a Thunderbird pilot. And she
Wow.
actually, she's on the speaking circuit now, but she was on my podcast. It took me 2 years to get her on my show. She loved me. She said, "Hey, I'm gonna connect you with my buddy Scott." I never heard of Scott McGregor with the Outlier Project. A
I
month later,
love him.
Scott's on my show, and Scott was like, "How do you?" And Scott, like, if you know him, you know him, but if you don't know him, like, he's not out there in terms of really, unless you're within that world. But I was asking him quite. I researched him for probably like a straight month of just every single podcast he'd done. I read his books, all these different things. I found out we had mutual friends, so I contacted them and I said, "Hey, what's something I can ask Scott that I cannot Google?"
That's so good that you
Mhm.
said that.
Yeah, and we hit it off. And I mean, and obviously I'm in an Outlier project now. But I mean, I've told Scott, like, there's so, because he's always like, "Well, who's on your list?" And like Rick Prado was on my list, and he's an icon in the Air Force, and
Wow.
but you've been on this list. Of course, Chef Rush. I think everyone knows who Chef Rush is, and
I love him.
yeah, there's been, uh, and even I can remember. So I've had my podcast. I started podcasting 2014, but this specific podcast started in January 2018. The first 5 years, I only did 19 episodes. I wasn't really active on it. I pour so much of my heart and soul into this, and um,
I
y-
love what you do and how
thank
you
you.
research. And,
Yeah.
I had Ed Milet on my show and I had researched him
Woo.
like crazy. And I was able to ask him some questions that
That's
caught him off
amazing.
guard. And he was like, how did you know that? And I was like,
That's incredible.
he's like, how did you know that? And I was like, well, I did my research because I asked him questions that weren't like the normal
Yeah.
and yeah, one of the questions I said, so I hear you're going to be getting to play with the Red Sox or something like that. And he goes, how did you know that? And it was something that he had said in a podcast because I was listening to different podcasts
Yeah.
that he had been on and stuff. But yeah, I think it makes a difference when you do that research. And I am the same. Like I've had so many people go, well, can you introduce me to this person or that person? And I
Yep.
think to myself, it took me years
Yep.
to put in the work and to really build that
Mhm.
relationship and be of service and to give and to give and to give before I even had the opportunity to ask them
Exactly.
to be on the show. But I also want to tell you a story since you mentioned Jesse Itzler.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you this story about him. He is such an incredible guy. So I was asked to. I had a Zoom call with a guy who was having an event, and he's like, "Hey, Amberly, we really want you to speak at our event. but we've got Ed Milet and Jesse Itzler speaking. So as you can imagine, we've already paid them a lot of money and we're not going to pay you. So these are the dates. And it was just how it was said. Like, to me, it felt like they're worth the money, but you're not. You know what I
Exact
mean?
100%. Yeah, that's very disrespectful. That's exactly
And
how I yeah.
and I was just like, you know what? I wish you all the best with your event, but I'm not going to be able to make that one. And then I got off and I was like, man, I really wanted to meet Jesse Itzler. I should have just done it so I could meet Jesse Itzler. And I was like, no, what that would do to, and I speak for free sometimes if it's a
Yeah,
friend or if it's a charity, but
exactly.
it was just the way that it was asked. And so I was like, I can't do that because that is not going to be good for my self-worth for, you know what I mean? And it wasn't about ego. It was just about like, I have to make sure that I'm doing things that make me feel good, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was kind of bummed I wasn't going to meet Jesse Itzler. And then 2 weeks later, I get a DM on Instagram from Jesse Itzler. And he's like, hey, Amberly, I think you're in Dallas. I'm going to be in Dallas. Are you going to be around on these dates? And I was like, he said, I'm speaking at two different events. And I said, sure, let me know and I'll purchase a ticket because I thought he was trying to sell me a ticket for an event.
Yeah.
He goes, no, 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 no. I don't want you to buy a ticket. I just want to hang out with you. I'm like,
Wow.
holy moly. And he gave me his phone number and he was like, I'm going to be speaking at this event. It's a conference for, it was like air conditioning or something. And this event for the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I want to go to both. I want to hang out with him all day, but my husband's going to kill me if I say, hey, I'm going to hang out with Jesse Itzler and the Cowboys. So I was like, okay, I'll go to the conference and meet him at the conference. So I thought, I can't believe this is happening. I go, he's running late. I'm, of course, dressed like with a suit on and all
Yeah.
excited to meet him. And they're looking at me and they're like, are you the speaker? And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. Jesse's on his way. He's going to be here. He's texting me. I'm almost there. Tell him I'm almost there. And he comes running in, I swear to you, like 5 minutes before he's going to go on stage. And I'm like, hey, Jesse, he was so cool. Runs in, hey, Amberly, gives me a big hug. He changes his wrinkled t-shirt, puts on a little less wrinkled t-shirt, takes off one baseball cap, puts on a little bit of a nicer baseball cap. And I'm like, well, do you want me to get some B-roll of you? You want me to take pictures? Do you
Yeah.
want me to start the standing ovation? Not that you need that, but he's like, no, I just want to hang out with you. Like, he genuinely just wanted to hang out. I was blown away. I felt like it was God saying, you know what? You made the right decision. You're
Yeah.
going to get to meet Jesse in a whole different way anyway. So I had to tell you that story since you met Jesse Itzler, and he is like the coolest freaking guy ever. Like, for him to do that, he's so cool.
Yeah, he's a dream guy, like, and I'd love to go to the Knicks are in the NBA finals right now. I would love to go to a basketball game with him because it seemed like it would just be so much fun.
Yeah,
And
and I still haven't had him on my show. He goes, "Okay, we were in the elevator." He goes, "Well, what can I do for you?" I'm like, "Well, I would love to have you on my show."
yeah.
And still haven't had him, but I haven't reached out either. So I need to, this is
Uh,
my,
yeah.
I'm going to reach out. I'm writing a note.
You should. Like he's fun. And if there's anyone I could not that you need help researching, but if there's ever anyone that you need help researching if you have a show coming up and you're struggling or don't have as much time or bandwidth to research a guest, I 100% can do that for you, and I rock at that. Like that is something. I'm not a video editor by any means. That's not my skill set. But when it comes to asking good questions and doing the research and just being genuine, I feel like that's where I shine and being consistent. I think that's where I've really been able to stand out. It's just the consistency. But yeah, the questions and I mean, it's literally what I did for 23 years. And then, like, I don't know, I'm able to find things that I'm very proud of, much like you when you talked about the Ed Milet and trying out for the Red Sox or playing for the Red Sox. Like, it's fun to me. Like, I love that. But that's what I do. I consume podcasts. Well, it's something. But again, not that you need it. And I know you probably have a team,
Thank you.
but
No, thank you. That's awesome. And same, if I've had a guest on and you're like, hey, I'm going to have them on, anything you suggest.
yeah.
Yeah. But no, thank you so much.
All right. I was gonna do an intro about you and then we'll get started with the official part.
Okay.
If that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just I'm gonna read a couple quotes and I'm gonna do a bio about you. Feel free to laugh or say anything as I'm reading the bio. It's you know, I
Okay.
kind of meshed together a couple things.
Okay.
All
Let's
right, let
have
me make
some
sure I'm
fun.
all right. All right. One, two, three. Obstacles don't block the path, they are the path. Second quote for you. We are walking permission slips for our children. Last quote, and certainly not least, addiction does not discriminate. My guest in this episode, Passing the Torch, is a pillar of resilience, best-selling author, and TEDx speaker. After surviving a near fatal motorcycle accident and living with complex regional pain syndrome, also known as CRPS, she transformed her pain into purpose, inspiring audiences worldwide through speaking, coaching, and content focused on grit, resilience, and overcoming adversity. She's also had at least 34 surgeries to save her leg from being amputated. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome a professional dancer whose first dance video was with MC Hammer and an author who did not own a computer and handwrote 90% of her first book. Passing the Torch with Amberly Lago starts now. First and foremost, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining me.
Oh my goodness. That was the best introduction I have ever had. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me on the show. My goodness, we're actually recording. We've been talking for a couple of days now, right?
This is like take four, take five. Like,
Yes. And I have to say, you are the kindest, like most patient person ever. Like when I hopped on with you the other day and I was like, I have a funeral to go to. So I'm just wondering how long this episode will be. You're like, you know what? We can meet another day. I'm like, are you sure? Like you are so kind, so patient. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for giving me another chance to be here with you today.
thank you. I mean, I'm honored. I told you before, I've wanted you on my show for 6 years, and so yeah,
That
I
is
mean, just
unbelievable. You just made my day. Seriously, that is unbelievable. I can't believe that.
yeah, almost as yeah, it's yeah, it's and almost pretty much my show's over 8 years old, but yeah, no, it's just something that you are. I said specifically pillar of resilience during your bio because that's what you are. You are this pillar, the shining pillar of resilience, and it's just to me, resilience is more than a word. It's a person where it's just I can point to you like or say your name, Amberly Lago. Like, what does resilience mean to you, Amberly Lago? Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know how like so. Just thank you for the kind words. I know how busy you are. I know the people that you interview on your amazing podcast, writing forwards for books. If you're not writing your own book, so just thank you for your time and thank you for the compliments. Because even before we started recording, you're throwing some nice ones out, and it's just the I'm I'm
Yeah, I
I'm
was
I'm
like, "What
feeling
are
it.
I was like, "What are your secrets?" Because you look 20 years younger than your age. You told me how your age, and I was like, "No way. That's not possible." Oh, I think it was you told me that how long you retired. I'm like, "How are
Mhm.
you retired? You look like you're 24."
And it's crazy. Yeah, so I appreciate that. I'm 44, and it's uh, yeah, it's just I joined the Air Force and not the Marines or the Army or the Navy. The Air Force. It was good to me. So it was the nicer branch, less stressful, I guess. I guess compared to some of the others, but uh,
Yeah. But I was smiling when you were talking about resilience because my husband, we've had to use humor a lot over the
yeah,
years with all the surgeries and the CRPS
was
and
34. That is that the right number? Sorry, I wanted to make sure I got
yeah,
yeah.
34 on my leg. And that doesn't include like the spinal cord stimulator. It's that two of those that I've had and all the treatments, flying out of the country for treatment and all that. But my husband always jokes around. He says, you just won't die. Like God keeps spitting you back out. And I'm like, honey, stop saying that. But I think that's his definition of resilience. I just keep getting back up. But I don't feel like God's done with me yet. But yeah, 34 surgeries, in and out of the hospital for years. And then still, last year I was in the hospital I, 6 times. I think it was 6 times in the hospital last year, and I'm going on a trip with my daughter tomorrow. She's going into Texas Tech, and we're going to orientation, and my husband keeps going, "You need to go get an IV treatment, get an IV treatment," because with CRPS, when you're in constant chronic pain, it's like your body is in fight or flight all the time. And your immunity, it's kind of hard on your immunity despite living with the pain. It can kind of run you down. So he gets worried about me when I travel. He's worried I'm
Yeah.
going to get sick. But yeah, the CRPS, people think, oh, you were in an accident, you had those surgeries, life is good. And it's like, no, I think pain has been my biggest teacher. And living with, I had somebody ask me just yesterday, one of my best friends, Henry Amar, he's like, Amberly, why do you think it is you do so much? Are you running from something? What is it? And I said, well, I know what it is. I said, I think it's fear. I think it's fear of like facing the pain. And I know I'm just being real with you. It's hard. I don't want to look at the pain and focus on the pain because it's ranked highest on the pain scale. I know what it is. I know a lot of
And the
people that
highest
can't
suicide
walk.
rates, right? There's I think if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, I don't have the exact number, but I remember seeing that as a note somewhere.
It's dubbed the suicide disease because the pain is so severe that people either commit suicide and or they slowly kill themselves with drugs or alcohol. And so I think that my pain has pushed me until my purpose pulls me, and I am not gonna stop doing the things that I love because when I can get out there and if I can make a difference in one person's life to not give up, then it gives the pain that it gives pain purpose for me. And so yeah, I might do a lot and I might be, but it fills my heart.
Yeah, so how can pain and joy coexist?
Yeah, I have realized, I remember when I was in physical therapy, I was there every day or 6 days a week mostly. Sometimes 5, usually 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And my therapist, Terry, said, "Hey, Amberly, I've got this guy. He was in a motorcycle accident years ago. It is very similar to yours, and he wants to meet you." And I was like, "Well, bring him in. I want to meet him. Sure." And I had just gotten the okay to do full weight bearing on my leg. This is months after I'd gotten out of the hospital, and I was in the hospital for 3.5 months the first time.
Wow.
And so I get to the physical therapy facility, and he's there. And I said, watch this. And I do like this walk. I did like a victory lap around where everybody could see. And I had the biggest smile on my face. I was so excited. And I'm sure it looked pretty darn scary how I was walking and all the scars on my leg because the skin grafts were still really red and raw. And then my
Mm.
lower leg was just, I think the staples were out. I think the staples were out at that time, but it looked like Frankenstein. And I have this big smile on my face, and the guy goes, "What is wrong with her? Doesn't she know how bad this is?" Well, yeah, I knew how bad it was, but I wasn't focusing on that. I was focusing on, oh my goodness, I am out of my wheelchair. I am off my crutches. I am walking. I have my leg. I'm alive. I can breathe. I can connect with people in this room.
Yeah.
And so I think I realized that joy and pain can coexist because, yes, I had pain, but I focused on things that really, truly sparked more joy in my life.
I love that, and that's so this is why I wanted you on my show because you're so refreshing, and I've heard you speak or watched you speak on different venues multiple times. I've watched a lot of your speaking reels, read your books, listened to your podcast.
Oh, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
of course. I mean, it's just because I know the toughest conversations I have are often with myself, and I think many people always have tough conversations. But then I look to other people who have suffered way more than me and who have way more built-in excuses, and they're making it happen. So then I have to tell myself, what dominates your thoughts determines your direction. And I try to focus on gratitude, and that's what I get the sense of you. You're so grateful despite being in constant chronic pain. But here's one. So what's the psychological alchemy of choosing gratitude immediately after suffering?
Well, I think that I have really almost like trained my mindset, and it takes practice, but I will give you an example of what I'm talking about. So, first of all, I realized how gratitude is alchemy and it changes everything when I was in the hospital the first time after my motorcycle accident. And I was in a place where I was not feeling very grateful. I was looking down at my leg thinking, oh my gosh, what if tomorrow's the day that they're going to amputate it? What if I can't run again? What if I can't chase after my kids? What if my husband leaves me? What if I die? Like I was spiraling down into this dark place. And I thought,
Yeah.
wait a minute, I've got a choice here. I can focus on what I can't do, or I can focus on what I do have and what I can do. And I think that what helped me with that was writing thank you notes in the hospital, because writing the thank you notes got me focused on, wow, this person is in my life and they stopped by the hospital. Wow, this nurse is taking care of me. Wow, this doctor's willing to take a chance on me and try to
Yeah.
save my leg. And I noticed how it shifted my perspective immediately. And so when I say I've trained myself to go to gratitude and think that way, I have a gratitude practice. And I say practice because I know some days it's harder than others to be grateful when you're really struggling. But there is always something to be grateful for. And I have a group of ladies, we call ourselves the God Squad. And I use an app and we type something, we type 10 things we're grateful for, and then we share it with each other. And every day we do this. There's a group of 6 of us, and every day we're putting in our and it's not only just a way to shift your perspective, it's that connection, because I really feel like that connection is where you find the resilience. But when my daughter and I were hit by a car, and I know you're
Yeah.
probably thinking, geez, girl, like look both ways before you cross the street. But we were on our scooters and we both got hit by a car. And there's nothing scarier than not knowing in that moment, knowing you're going to be hit. And I remember I was right in front of her and I put my arms out. And just so you
Was
know,
this
putting your
Savannah?
arms
Was this
out does
Savannah?
not stop a car. What?
Was this, Savannah, your daughter, or
Oh, no, this was Ruby. So
Ru
this was only, gosh, like 4 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
And, so we would go on a bike ride or scooters every day. And when the car hit us, luckily we were thrown back and not rolled over. And while we were in the ambulance, we were both conscious. While we were in the ambulance, I remember thinking, what is this teaching me? What did I not learn yet from the first time being hit by an SUV to now being hit? So my mindset was already, I am so grateful we're alive. I'm so grateful it's not worse. Even though I was in pain, even though I was scared, I shifted and all I focused on was the gratitude that we were both okay. We were going to be okay. And focusing right away on, well, what can I learn from this? And it makes a difference because your kids watch everything that you do and they see how you react. And in the hospital, after they did the CAT scan and after we got out, my daughter and I are walking out of the hospital. And she goes, Mama, we were rolled in here on gurneys and we are walking out of here like rock stars. So she did not have that victim mentality.
Yeah.
She was like, even though she was in pain, she was, like, grateful to be walking and getting out of the hospital.
That's why I opened up. I heard you all quotes that I open up with are things that I've heard you say or written, from your book. Um, One of those being, "We are walking permission slips for, our children." And that's something that's just really, stuck with me. Um, I love that you're choosing gratitude because it's very easy for people to choose the alternative and just, bitterness and just anger. Um, but it to me, I think those times that you face in the recovery, it's it's a time of desperation for a lot of people. But why do you think there is a gift in desperation?
Oh, there really is. I know it's hard to imagine that there can be anything good with desperation, but at my lowest point, and it wasn't in the hospital, it was when I got out of the hospital and I was diagnosed. Couldn't understand why the pain kept getting worse and worse. And
Yeah.
I went into a doctor and they diagnosed me with CRPS, and they said, your life is never going to be the same. You need to get back in your wheelchair. You're never going to work again. You'll never walk again. And I was like, that can't be right. So I went to a second doctor. They evaluated me. It was Dr. Prager in LA. And at first, when I walked in, usually when you walk into a clinic that deals with CRPS, most people are not walking in. They look miserable because they are in pain. And I walk in without no crutches, no wheelchair, no walker, standing up tall, makeup on, hair done. And I had all my scars covered up. And I walk in and he looks at me without examining me and he goes, oh, you don't have CRPS. And I'm like, see, I told you I do not have CRPS. And he goes, but let me just examine you. And so take your boots off. Let me change into this. And he did all these tests and he's like, wow, you do have CRPS and we need to take radical action. And I was still like, oh, no. So I went to a third doctor. They diagnosed me with CRPS and I was in tears and I said, okay, what do I need to do? So I started taking action. I was trying every kind of treatment to get out of pain, spinal stimulator, ketamine fusions, Eastern, Western medicine. At one point, I was on 73 homeopathic pills a day, 73 pills a day, and 11 prescription medications, and nothing was working. And then I discovered wine. And I was like, gosh, why didn't the doctor just tell me to knock one of these back? And it numbed out the pain, but it also helped me stuff down the shame and
Mm,
sadness, and it worked until it didn't, and I became an alcoholic. And I had so much shame because I had been an athlete my whole life, and I look at what I'd become, and I kinda thought to myself, "How did a good girl like me end up like this?" And, I was so desperate at one point that I just got on my knees and I prayed, and that gave me the courage to ask for help. And I found a 12-step recovery and started going to meetings. And I was so desperate. I found a sponsor, and anything that she said to do, I was going to do it because I was willing to do whatever she said to stay sober. And so if I wouldn't have been so desperate, I really do think that pain pushes people. Pain is a good
mm.
motivator. And so that was the most desperate place in my life. And it led me to a beautiful place in my life where I get to be sober. I got my health back. And my sobriety journey is everything to me. And, I live with the serenity prayer. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I have that on my wall. I have this on my desk. I've got little frogs all over my. People are starting to give me frogs now because it reminds me fully rely on God. My daughter made this one for me. And so that desperation led me to where I am now. And if I wouldn't have been that desperate, I wouldn't have the honor of being sitting here with you right now.
I love that. I mean, God, that's such a great answer, yeah, the frog, that's so great. Um, that's good. Like, what would you say is the because you've openly shared about your addiction and, your sober, journey, but what's, I guess, just like a one uncomfortable truth about healing or resilience that most people don't wanna hear that are going through those, processes?
An uncomfortable truth.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard. Um, And I think I just did a post about this where I did a post kind of honoring my husband. He woke up and saw it and he goes, what made you say all those nice things about me? Because he puts up a lot. And I was just talking about, how people see me on stages or,
Yeah.
even on TV or whatever, and they think, oh, she's got it all together and she's feeling good and this and that. And they don't see me when I come home from an event and I am really struggling with pain or throwing up nonstop because I can't control the pain and it's so bad. And like tomorrow, I'm leaving to go for my daughter's orientation. And I share with you how my husband's like, well, you better go get an IV.
Yeah.
And the crutches are already set out by the front door. And people would think, why are you using crutches? Well, I never know when the CRPS is going to flare up and be really bad. And so I used to have a lot of shame about having to use crutches. And now I look at them with gratitude as well because they allow me to do the things that I want to do with the people that I want to be with. And so that really shifted a long time ago when I went on a school there was a school event and we were going to the zoo. And I remember thinking, gosh, I'd been trying to hide the fact that something was wrong. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to walk. It was a huge zoo. This was in LA.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to be able to walk all this. My husband was like, you're going to have to ride one of those scooters. And I was like, dang it. Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to make it the coolest thing ever. I got on that scooter and I was like, this is so much fun. I had every single one of the kids waiting for turns to go for rides with me. And they
Nice.
thought it was the coolest thing ever, you know? And so it's all how you approach something. If I would have been all sappy and depressed, they would have been like, ooh, something's wrong. What's wrong with her? You know?
Yeah.
But I was like, "Oh, no, this is actually really fun. Who wants to go fast with me? Who wants to do donuts with me?" You know? And so, yeah, and then the same thing happened. I actually have a picture when I'm at Universal Studios and SpongeBob SquarePants got in my scooter. So I'm
That's awesome.
standing next to the scooter with SpongeBob SquarePants in my scooter.
That's that's awesome. I love that. It's I mean, you're turning something negative into a positive, and it's just right. You have two choices. Um, I do have a couple more serious questions, and I do have some fun, lighter, miscellaneous, random things. But I just, how much more time do you have? Do you have like a hard stop?
Oh, I have till the top of the hour, so
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
One thing I've heard you say, and you actually, you mentioned a post about your husband. There was actually a couple different posts that I've saved over the past couple months that you've
Aw.
made on, yeah, Instagram. But one that really stuck with me was, you talk about um uh it was from April. You shared that we all have our choices, and what we may perceive as our vulnerabilities are actually our strengths. Separately from that, one of the best things I've ever heard anyone say, and was I heard you once say, "Grit without connection is resistance. A resistance. Grit with connection is where you find resilience." So I have longer questions that I'll save for maybe a different time, but just kind of hearing that little bit of context, what hurts more, scars on the outside or scars on the inside?
I think scars on the inside.
Yeah,
Like, I think people see scars on the outside, but I can say also, like, I think there's a part of me that feels like I'm lucky that I have scars on the outside. I was diagnosed with CRPS, but when you look at my leg, it looks like it would hurt. But unfortunately, there are people that have been diagnosed with CRPS that they don't even have scars and they still have CRPS. And it might look a different color, it might be swollen, the
yeah,
skin might be shiny, but there's no scars. I have plenty of scars on the inside from everything from being sexually abused as a child by my stepfather, um, physical abuse and a narcissistic abuse. When back then, I didn't even know what that was until I started doing therapy and research and healing from a spouse. And so I have plenty of those kind of scars. And I feel like a lot of times, I've been hard on myself. I've put labels on myself. Society puts labels on us, and I felt broken and shame and I let that kind of define me. And then I realized that we get to choose. We don't have to live with labels that people or even ourselves, like we put on ourselves, that we get to choose. And I think when you realize you have a choice, you take your power back.
It's a very clippable moment. I love that response. That is, you have like these poignant responses that are so, uh, yeah, they're so good,
Oh
Amberly.
my gosh. Can I just hang out with you all day? Because
I'm good.
I'm not kidding. Like, I don't know what I say sometimes. That might sound weird, but I remember I was at this event speaking, and I guess I said something about resilience. And afterwards, the guy came up to me and he had been taking notes. And he goes, I really loved your definition on resilience. Can you tell me that again? And I was like, I don't know what I said. But
The
I
quote I
just
said,
share like from experience, you know what I mean? It's not like something I've studied out of a textbook. It's like something I've lived.
even that's a great quote too. I mean, that's their quote. So the other day, it's we were chatting just for 20 minutes or so the other day, but I brought up that grit without. I was telling you, I was sharing it like, hey, here's some of the notes I have about you, and I brought up the grit without connection. You're like, I don't remember saying that, and I'm like, I do. I remember when you said that, like, and and it was so great that I remember just typing it out, and
Oh,
it sticks with me. I do as we wrapping up, and I know you got to get going. I do have some light miscellaneous questions. Again, there's no rhyme or reason, just fun. I think the biggest and most important question of all is: do you still have your MC Hammer pants? Or did you wear the parachute pants when you were a dancer?
no. And I wish I had. I wonder what happened to some of the clothes that I had, you
You
know.
could wear them to your daughter's orientation tomorrow or
I
whatever. Like
know.
that'd be really cool.
I have to tell you, she went with me to this event that I was speaking at. And afterwards, the speakers went to a dinner and it was me and all these like billionaire men.
Did you ask
And
them
then
who
there
they
was
were
me.
with? Did you ask them who they were with? Like, who are you with?
Yeah. And who are you with? Yeah. um, and it was my daughter Ruby and I, and one of the guys goes, so, Ruby, what's the most embarrassing thing that your mom has ever done? Or what does she do that embarrasses you? And right away, with no hesitation, she goes, she dances everywhere. Everywhere we go, she's always dancing. And I do embarrass her. Like, we'll be in Target standing in line. I hear a good song, you know, and I start
Banger.
dancing around. It just makes it, oh, look at you. Look at you.
I was in a boy band back in the 90s.
Oh my goodness. Are you
Mhm.
serious?
I'm dead serious.
Are there videos on YouTube?
No, and we were horrible. That's why I joined the military, and like we were horrible. But I was in one. It was I'd say 99 to late 2000, maybe early 2001. Mhm.
Wow. Oh man, I
Yeah,
wish there were videos of that.
I know. It was and we totally ripped off other boy bands at the time. So, but it was we were horrible. But anyway, but yeah, so I get the when there's a banger in Target, in the Speed Express checkout line, man, you gotta
Yeah, you
yeah.
gotta get them
So
moving.
and I think one of my favorite videos that you posted is I don't know how long ago it was, but you and Renee Marino were in some hotel or something, and you guys are just dancing in the lobby like everyone is watching, but you're dancing like nobody is watching,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's
we and I was telling you that was not planned. We were just having fun, and we were actually just dancing as we went, and we were just kind of in sync with each other. But she is like my sister from another mister. I love her. She's amazing.
when you think of a movie image that depicts resilience, who or what comes to mind?
Well, actually, it's it's my favorite movie my two favorite movies, The Notebook and Dirty Dancing, and 3, Urban Cowboy. And so I
Oh,
guess I could say they have resilience in relationships.
mm,
'Cause look at all they went through. Because resilience just isn't about physical stuff, it's really so much about mental, to be honest. I mean, and I look at my relationship with my husband, we've been together 20 years, And all that we have gone through could have either ripped us apart or brought us
Yeah.
closer together. And I feel like it's brought us closer together. Thank goodness. And by the way, he reminds me of how much he's done for me and how he was at the hospital every day and how I have 2 legs because of him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, no, that's great. I love that perspective. Here's a fun fact: is Rachel McAdams is my celebrity crush,
Is it?
and
Is
yeah,
she?
yeah, and you know, and I've obviously with my friends and stuff, or just with people in general. Uh, I was talking to a friend of mine maybe like 2 years ago, and I was like, "Yeah, man, Rachel McAdams," and my friend was like, "Oh, that makes sense." I'm like, "Why you say that? Like, your wife looks like her." And then
Really?
oh yeah, and it dawned on me, and so I mean, I met my wife before I knew who Rachel McAdams was. So, but it was just Rachel McAdams. My wife, Rachel McAdams, looks like my wife. So,
Yes.
but my wife
There you
kind of has
go.
my wife has like those big blue eyes and kind of that strawberry sandy blonde type hair color and everything. And it just it was like I was like, oh man, I never thought about that. So, but it makes
Wow.
perfect sense.
I'm looking over to the side because I'm in Texas and we have crazy weather here. And it started raining. It was sunny and it just started raining so hard that it's like raining sideways. So I'm like, what is going on out there?
Do you need to leave sooner? Is that kind of like, do you need
No,
to
no,
get
no,
going?
no,
Oh,
no, no. I don't. It was just kind of shocking. I'm still getting used to this weather.
I might use that as like the still image for the podcast. Like, you know, I stumped Amberly Lago. Like, she's just like, she had to look sideways. She had to ask the rain, who are you with? Like,
Who are you with? And who are you with?
who are you with? Um, so last year I published episode 100 of my podcast. My wife was actually my special guest for that one. It was a big,
That's what I did on my 100th episode. I had my husband on, and I've been begging him to come back. Do you know that's the most downloaded episode?
that's and I know the people you've had on. That's funny you say that because I did 40 episodes in total for calendar year 2025. That episode did not come out with my wife until November 6th. I didn't tell anyone that she was going to be on it. It was a surprise. I did this whole marketing thing for it. But between November and then I made an end of year post just highlighting the top 20 episodes for my podcast from 2025. That episode with her was in the top 20, and it was only despite being from November 6th to December 31st. Like, because
Wow. I'm
yeah,
not surprised though, like I
yeah,
think people want real,
mhm.
authentic. And yeah, Johnny, my husband, that episode was it's still to this day. And I've had like Mae Musk on, I've had John Gordon, Ed
Yeah.
Milet, I've had Eric Adams, I've some
No,
Trent
yeah,
Shelton.
you've had quite oh my good. I mean, it's just, it's the who's who, right? But what's a question or a quote? So I like to so since episode 100, I started a tradition where I pass the torch between episode and each guest. What's a question or a quote, your preference, I could use in a future episode with a guest to be determined?
I really think that you need to ask Brad Pitt why he hasn't called me yet.
That don't impress me much. That's my little Shania Twain reference.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, my husband says that would be okay. He got, I got, so yeah, when you have Brad Pitt on, just ask him, okay? Um, I would say for a future guest, I would ask, what is their secret to really finding that peace and serenity throughout their entrepreneurial journey?
That's good. That's a good one. Just last two questions. The first of which, if there was a giant billboard, and I feel like this is a very real possibility, there was a giant billboard with your picture on it for the world to see, where would you want that billboard to be located? And what would you want that billboard message to say?
Mm. I think that I would have a billboard maybe on like Skid Row or maybe somewhere where there were streets where there was a lot of addiction.
Mm,
And it would say, with God, all things are possible. don't give up, and maybe I would even have call me my phone number if you need help. No,
Yeah.
I just feel like, sometimes people don't know, and all they need to know is like, you're not alone, that there is help, and there's somebody out there that is struggling just like you, and they were able to walk through that and stay sober. And so that's what I would probably do. Like
That's
in an area where it was very needed for somebody to maybe just read one thing to change their day and
Skid
life.
Rosie. Yeah, that's a great response. I don't recall hearing that one because that's a very unique and well thought out, location and message. Um, what can I do for you? How can I best serve you?
Oh, you already have. I mean, you're amazing. Just I really looked forward to getting to talk with you, and it's a no wonder your guests love your show. It's because you're so amazing and genuine and fun to talk with. And there's some people that you meet on, I got to meet you before at the Outliers when I spoke to the group.
Yeah,
And I just loved meeting you then. But getting to talk to you now has been amazing. And I just think that you're stuck with me now. We're going to be friends for life. And so, you know, we'll have to get together, double date with your, wife who Rachel McAdams looks like.
that's right. Yeah. Amberly, thank you so much, just for being on my show. You have no idea, like, when I'm going to just have that check mark next to
Aw.
your name. You are an inspiration. You are resilience. I mean, I don't know. I wish I had like these more profound, deeper words to highlight just how incredible you are.
Thank
You are
you.
beautiful outside and inside. But just thank you for, man, just thank you for your grit. Thank you for your toughness. Thank you for your gratitude, for your strength, and your quotes. You're full of quotes. So, but Amberly, this was an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was such an honor and so much fun.